I am surrounded by a lot of books. It's been a very long time since I've done a book haul. I think it's probably been since sometime at the beginning of the year, and we know that I have a book buying problem. So there are a lot of books surrounding me that we need to haul and talk about today. I have a few that I've read and a lot that I haven't, and honestly I forgot that I had some of these books because they have been in like bottom of my haul pile, and I really need to get that cleaned out and get my shelves reorganized because it's driving me crazy. So we've got a lot here. We've got fantasy, horror, thriller, romantasy, a little bit of everything. Some of these you will have already seen. Probably most of these you may have seen if you watch all of my videos, but hopefully there will be something new in here for you guys as well. Quickly, I wanted to run through the ones that I have already read. The first is Ash and Feather by S.M. Gaither. This is the sequel to Flame and Sparrow. This was a good ending to the duology, and I absolutely love the way they look together. Then we have Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig. This is the final book in the duology of One Dark Window, and I loved this one. I cannot recommend it enough. Perfect gothic fall vibes. Another duology end is City of Mirth and Malice by Alexis L. Menard. Again, loved this. It was amazing. 10 out of 10. Cannot recommend this series enough. If you haven't read it yet, what are you doing? You need to read it. This was absolutely incredible and better than book one. Road of Bones by Demi Winters was just okay. It's a Viking-inspired romantasy, but I don't think it's a book that's going to really stick with me. Not something that I just love and will be screaming about. Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. This is the sequel to Butcher and Blackbird that follows a different couple. It is a romance, which you don't see me read a whole lot of, a contemporary romance, or I guess technically it's a dark contemporary romance-ish on my channel, but I did not like this one quite as well as I did Butcher and Blackbird, but I still enjoyed it. It has a stabby vibe, and we're following the best friend and the brother of the characters from Butcher and Blackbird. Quicksilver, I slightly regret buying this cover, to be honest. I was not a huge fan of the emo cover. He just did not scream Fisher to me when I was reading the book. I was like, man, I just don't know about that one. But this is very bland, and I don't like this one either, so I'm not sure, other than being able to hold it up, why I own either one of them. But this one I think did get picked up, so we will definitely be getting a new cover. I will get that when it comes out, and I am assuming somebody is going to pick this up as a special edition at some time in the near future. Love this one. All of the TikTok and BookTube girlies were right. This is so good. Then we have my bookish box of Serpent and the Wings of Night. This cover is potentially really good, but printed so dark you can't even see it. It has beautiful edges and everything, but I just am not a huge fan of how dark this cover is. I do have the fairy loot coming eventually. They were delayed, so I'm just waiting on those to come in, and once they do, I will likely unhaul this edition just because I already own so many editions of this book already. I don't need another one, especially one that I'm not just loving the cover of, but I know a lot of people absolutely loved this. It's just not for me. Then we have the bookish box edition of Crown of Oaths and Curses by Jay Bree. I don't like this cover either. I keep meaning to switch it because it just doesn't go with the edges with this cover, but the reverse dust jacket cover does go a little bit better with it, so I probably will switch this over at some point. But this is a true enemies to lovers but fated mates with a twist, and I really enjoyed this one. I need to pick up the sequel sooner rather than later because I gave this one a high 4-star, but the sequel just makes me nervous, and so I haven't picked it up or purchased it yet. Speaking of Butcher and Blackbird, I have the Darkly edition of Butcher and Blackbird. I really like this edition. I think it's a lot of fun. This one has like cool sprayed edges or stenciled edges, and this book I definitely loved. It was so much fun, and I am so glad to have a special edition of this one. It fits the vibes. I think that this cover really does portray what the book is trying to get across, and so I do like that a lot. Next up we have Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. This is the Barnes & Noble edition. It just has red sprayed edges and a couple of like bonus scenes and stuff in it. I loved this book. It was wonderfully creepy, very weird, kind of off its rocker, and it was one of those books that you just have to be in the mood for and get because it could easily go badly for you, but I had so much fun with it. I don't really want to tell you a lot about what it's about other than we have a group of kids that are determined to make their own horror movie. It was something else. It was a ride. I did really like the audiobook. I know some people don't. If you don't like extra sounds and like full production type in your audio, you find it distracting. I would not go with the audiobook for this one, but if that's something you typically enjoy, audiobook is the way to go for this. A non-special edition is Throne of Shadows by Tassandra Odette. This is a young adult romantasy that I found just okay. It's following a runaway princess and she gets into trouble when she is trying to save some unicorns. That's all I'm really gonna tell you about it. It was fine. I might continue in the sequel. There is another one of her books laying around here somewhere, but I'm gonna have to dig to find it, and I do plan to read that one. This was just what I started with from her. And then we have When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. This is the Fairyloot edition, and I just honestly think you can't beat Fairyloot editions right now. Their romantasy is so gorgeous, and I'm loving it. I've got several to show you guys. This cover is just stunning. The edges are absolutely gorgeous. I adore this edition. The more I think about this book, the less I like it. I think I would, if I did change my ratings, would round it down to a 3.5. But overall, I had fun with this one. I do plan to continue on in the series, and I hope they do matching editions. This is gorgeous. Okay, what do we want to do next? Do we want to do my unread fantasy, horror, or romantasy? I think we'll do unread fantasy next. There are a couple of spur of the moment buys in here, things that I probably shouldn't have bought, but either I bought it for a thing or it just looked good at the time. We all know that I have a problem with buying too many books. But the first is Daughter of the Forest. This is not a Mel book. This has been told to me multiple times that it's not a Mel book, but Cassidy read it and liked it. And it's not a Cassidy book either. So I'm hoping that I will enjoy this. I've heard so many good things about a devoted daughter, and suddenly her father and her brothers are lost to her. They're bewitched by her stepmother. True magic knows no boundaries, and she must choose to fulfill a vow or gamble on a love her world or shatter it. I know there's some really dark themes in this, that it is not really a romantasy, I don't think, but it is a fantasy with a heavy romantic subplot, and I just am excited to finally pick this up and give it a try. Then we have a young adult, which is the Remnant Games. This is a trials-based story that I just thought the cover was cool, picked it up, read the synopsis, and was like, yes, I'll take it. This one says, humans are a vampire's prey. They're not supposed to enjoy getting caught. Yes? Yes, please. Then we have The Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons. This is the same author that read Chorus of Dragons series. I was so excited when I found out about this book. Then I've heard some so-so things. I've heard that sometimes the character development isn't great, but I still really do want to give this one a try. It, of course, has dragons, and I think it is following a girl that is living only for survival. She's having to break her way through jungles, but she also is going to rescue someone, and there is a band of misfits. It says, soar into this daring standalone fantasy heist adventure with conniving dragons, lightning banter, and high-stakes intrigue. Those are all buzzwords for me, so I'm hoping that I really love this. Then we have another gorgeous special edition, and that is Mistress of Lies. This is the Illumicrate edition, and this is a book that I've had my eye on for a while. I don't know, there's something about it that just really calls to me that I'm excited to read. They did kind of an alternate colorway with lots of foiling, but I do have to show you the Under the Dust Jacket because that is where this book really shines. Look at that. Look at how stunning that is. And then the edges match the Under the Dust Jacket really well. I am in love with that. I cannot wait to pick this book up. So this one is a darkly seductive romantasy. Apparently there is a villainous, bloodthirsty heroine who finds herself plunged into a dangerous world of power, politics, and murder at the hands of the Eternal King. It is vampires, and I cannot wait to read this. Then we have The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. Why did I pick this up? I don't know. I think it was because I was really afraid that they were going to run out of the sprayed edges copy, and if I liked it, I wanted to have a sprayed edge copy of it. This is one that I probably will get to in October if I can. It definitely gives me October vibes, but I've heard a lot of mixed things about this, and so it really does make me nervous that I'm not going to enjoy it. It's historical. Will I like it? Will I not? Probably not, but we're going to try it anyway. Then I haven't even taken the wrap off of this one, but this is Fathom Folk by Eliza Chan. Let me take the wrap off because that is glaring at you guys. That's a little bit better, still kind of glaring. This is one that I was also very, very excited about, but then heard some mixed reviews on, so I'm now very cautiously optimistic. It's a mermaid fantasy, which I don't ever see, and so I am curious that it's going to be something different, something fun, but kind of nervous about it. Then we have Foul Days. The Witcher meets Naomi Novik in this fast-paced fantasy rooted in Slavic folklore. I have heard really good things about this one. It's apparently supposed to be kind of dark, kind of atmospheric, maybe perfect for the fall weather, and I may pick this up sooner rather than later. I honestly have a huge pile of sooner rather than laters in here, things that I think are going to be perfect for the fall, so Maybe. Next up is Beasts of Prey by Anya Gray. This is a young adult fantasy that is involving magical creatures and a magical zoo, which sounds like so much fun. I've heard incredible things about this book, and I have been in and out of my young adult fantasy era recently, so I think it's about time for me to pick this up. It sounds really good, and again, I've heard people screaming about it, so of course I needed it. Then we have the Broken Binding edition of Never Die by Rob J. Hayes. Again, this is one of those covers that's just a little too dark for my liking. It has pretty gilded edges, but I wish that it was just a little bit lighter. The Under the Dust jacket is really nice. It's cloth bound. This is a series that I have liked one book and really not liked one. Actually, DNF'd Never Die. I know, don't come for me for buying a book that I've DNF'd, but I liked Spirits of Vengeance and I want to have a matching set if they decide to do the rest of the series. So I bought this. It's gonna be really pretty sitting on my shelves. Don't come for me. Another spur of the moment was the Dragonbone Chair by Tad Williams, and now Broken Binding has sent me another invite to join their sub, which is for this book, so I may be trying to do a cram tonight and tomorrow to figure out if I want to get those editions or not. This is a chunky boy. It is very classic fantasy. It was written in the 80s, so will I like it? Probably not, but we're going to see, and if I do, I may have a pretty edition to share with you guys at some point. I've heard really good things about this, but classic fantasy and I don't always get along. I bought this because the sequel would work for an R fantasy prompt, and so I was like, you know what, I'll give it a try, but we'll see if I ever get to the sequel. Then we have Torch Against the Night by Saba Tahir. This is the sequel to An Ember in the Ashes, which I enjoyed and read in the month of August. I've been trying to get my hands on all of these original paperbacks because I love these covers. The new ones, the spines make a really pretty image, but I don't love the cover as much. There's just something about this classic young adult cover that really works for me. But this one is a rebellion plotline. It is a young adult fantasy. You guys know, again, I've been in that era a little bit, and I need to pick this up while I'm riding the high of book one. Then we have The Book That Broke the World by Mark Lawrence. This is the sequel to The Book That Wouldn't Burn, and I liked that one, but I didn't just absolutely love it. There was a little bit lacking for me in the second half character development, but I still think it was an incredibly cool plot. We have a girl that lives in the desert, people are dying, and she ends up getting accepted to work in this magical library, and it opens a whole new world for her. I don't really want to tell you guys more than that, but this is a really cool concept. I love what Mark Lawrence can do with a story, and I think he does a really good job in this one as well. Next up, we have The Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. This is a Erin from Book to Busy recommendation. She was screaming, crying, and throwing up about it, so I decided I needed to pick it up myself. It is a young adult fantasy / romantasy that she says is incredible. That's all I needed to know. That's why I got it. Okay, now let's move through to the horror because that is the other smaller stack, and then we'll go through the romantasy, which is quite large. I apologize. First up, we have an Evernight edition, which is Murder Road by Simone St. James. I did not like this cover when I first got it. I was very unsure, but the more I look at it, the more it doesn't bother me. It has very much those Scooby-Doo vibes, but I've heard that that's not the vibe of the book. If that were the vibe of the book, this cover would be great, but since it's not, it's slightly aggravating. Simone St. James is one that I'm not really sure if I am going to read more of hers after this one. I have really not liked a couple. Do I know anything about what this is about? No. Apparently April and Eddie have taken a wrong turn. Now they're on a dark road and there is something after them. That's all I really want to know about this one, but we'll see if I end up liking it. Then we have The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. I read The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle and found it to be so unique and so much fun. I definitely had a few issues with it, but overall I thought it was really good and extremely well done. So I'm excited to read another book from this author. I did skip his Water one because I heard not so great things. It was apparently too historical, but I have heard good things about this one, so I will definitely be picking this up soon. I don't really know a lot about it, and I don't really want to know a lot about it. There's something about solving a murder to save the world, but that's all that I really want to know. Then we have The Family Experiment by John Mars. This is set in his kind of world of the passengers, the minders, that whole world. He writes thrillers, and I loved The Passengers, liked the one, didn't like the minders, so I'm hoping that I like this one. Apparently it's about a world where you are given a AI baby to see if you can raise it enough to keep it or something like that. Something along those lines. There's an experiment about a family. That's all I really know, but that's enough for me. He writes some really twisty sci-fi thrillers, and so I'm hoping that I enjoy this one. Then we have another Evernight exclusive, and that is The Eyes Are the Best Part. I've heard some really good things about this book, that it is disgusting, but also very, very good and very, very weird. So I'm hoping that I love this. Obviously, it's about eyeballs. Oh, we've been here a while already. We're gonna speed this up a little bit. Clown in the Cornfield by Adam Caesar, The Church of Friendo. This is the third book in the Clown of a Cornfield series. These are a lot of fun. I continue to read them because they're so fast paced. There are some issues that I have with them. Slashers aren't always my absolute favorite thing, but overall, these are such fast-paced, fun, young adult horrors that I do recommend them. The Reformatory is a hard-hitting horror. I know that this is a diverse story that people absolutely love. I've been wanting to read something from this author for a very long time, and this is the one that is not, I don't think, a haunted house story. Maybe it is a haunted house story. I know she has a haunted house story, but for some reason I think that this one is not. Oh, this is about a school, the Reformatory, so very excited to pick this one up. Then we have We Used to Live Here, which is making its rounds everywhere, all over everything, to the point where it was back ordered and it took me 3 weeks to get it in the mail from Amazon. I've heard very good things about this overall, but that it's going to appeal to a certain type of reader. Will I like it? I don't know. This is a haunted house story, and I'm curious to see what it's all about. Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle should have been in the already read pile. Gave this 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. It's about a guy that works in Hollywood. He's told that he needs to either kill off his characters or he can make them straight. He doesn't want to do any of those things, and so things get weird really fast. 5 stars. Incredible. Last 2 horror are Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates. This is a novella from her about a girl that takes a picture. There's apparently a ghost in it and it stalks her. And then Heads Will Roll by Josh Winning. I've seen some amazing 5-star reviews for this. It's about celebrities that once they kind of do something, they need to get away from society. They go to this summer camp for adults, but heads start rolling. Until the Stars Fall by Vanessa Rahanson. This one is a star-crossed lovers, I believe, story. I don't really know a lot about this one. It says Until the Stars Fall, You and You Alone. I've read something by this author before and didn't absolutely love it, but I do like this edition and I'm curious to read something else from this author. Okay, now let's move quickly into the Romantasy. Then we have another Fairy Loot Romantasy edition, and that is The Lore of the Wilds. Will I like this one? Probably not. Will I read it? Eventually, I think. I could end up just getting this one to another home on Pango. It's apparently a very whimsical story. I've heard very mixed things about it, but covers that they do and the edges are gorgeous, so maybe it just needs to be a trophy book on my shelves. Hemlock Queen is the sequel to the Foxglove King, which I was in the minority of absolutely loving and having a lot of fun with. I'm scared to read the sequel in case that first book was just a fluke, right book, right moment, but this is about a girl that has powers of death and she gets wrapped up in a love triangle with a king. Okay, so here's the other Tassanja Odette that I was telling you about, To Carve a Thay Heart. This is the Fabled edition, which is very, very beautiful. It's a little bit shorter, so I'm hoping it will work better for me. I don't know much about this one, and of course, because it's a special edition, it does not have any like synopsis on it for me, but I am curious to pick this up. Lord of the Fading Lands by C.L. Wilson is one that has been recommended to me a lot. This is a romantasy about an immortal fae king that has vanished into the Fading Lands for 1,000 years. And then we have Rain, whose search leads him to a woodcarver's daughter suffering from strange dreams. They go closer together and they're navigating the politics and family expectations while also finding a way to combat the coming darkness. Mask of Shadows is one that I just picked up on a whim at the bookstore. This one is a competition, a trial, which we know that I really, really enjoy in romantasy books, so that is definitely why I picked this one up. This is A Kiss of Iron. It's the reverse dust jacket. I did not like the original dust jacket. These are the edges. It's the bookish box. Some of bookish box editions I like, some I really don't. This one I may decide to unhaul. I did like this book-ish. I still am kind of on the fence if I'm going to even continue that series, but it does have a shadow daddy and a girl that is taken from her home and swept up into society, and she has to work with this fae that she doesn't like. Next up is the signing edition of Lady of Darkness. Melissa K. Rourke was very kind enough to send this to me. I was supposed to go see her in Nashville, but unfortunately was not able to attend, so she shipped it over to me. If you haven't no idea what Lady of Darkness is about, it's following Scarlet, who is one of the 3 Maidens of Death, and she is an assassin. She's given a new assignment and she has to move into the castle, things happen from there. Almost there, onto the last stack. We have The Deer and the Dragon by Piper C. This is one that's got really pretty edges, and I was excited about this because I believe it is about Satan. The deities you call aren't always the ones who answer, and a demon comes to her rescue or comes to answer her. But I've heard terrible things about this book. I've seen so many 1-star reviews, so I'm very, very nervous. Scars of Salt and Silver by Indiana Rose. I don't remember why I got this one. I think this involves games, and it also is a pirate romantasy. It says, in a game where knowledge is power, everyone has secrets they want to protect. What would you do if you lived in constant fear of your past? Definitely a pirate romantasy, and I've been loving pirate vibes recently. Then we have another Fairy Lit Romantasy edition, which is Bonded by Thorns. This edition is stunning. Look at that cover. Look at how beautiful. Look at those edges. Look at how gorgeous. I cannot wait. I love this book. Will I like it? I'm not sure. It is a reverse harem, and I think it is very, very, very smutty. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I've heard mixed things about whether or not I will enjoy it. It's going to be a wild card pick, but it's so pretty. I really, really hope that I like it. Next up is Bound to the Shadow Prince by Ruby Dixon. This is the same author that wrote Ice Planet Barbarians. I've heard this one has a lot more plot than Ice Planet Barbarians and a really wild ending. I think the middle does drag a little for some people, but I am curious to find out what that ending is all about. It's a monster romantasy, but also I don't think a super smutty typical monster romantasy, and I'm curious what that means. Then we have an edition that I tried to get at a Polycon, but unfortunately she was sold out, so I had it mailed to me, and that is Castle of Nevers and Nightmares by Lana Pekekrick. I love, love, love this. Like, look at this cover. It is stunning. This is a cloth bound. I don't know a lot about this. I know that there's a trial competition in this. It is a Why Choose reverse harem, and I'm excited to give it a try. I've liked some of her other books in the past and not liked some. The smuttier they get, the less I tend to like them, but I'm hoping with this being the first book in the series, it will slowly ramp up the setup and I will enjoy it. We'll see. Then we have Of Mischief and Mages by L.J. Andrews. This is the same author that wrote Everking. This is a part of a series all about fated mates and soulmates, which I haven't been loving as much of recently, but I really like L.J. Andrews' writing, and so I did want to give this one a try. It's about a mage with deadly magic, a royal thief, fate curse, a forgotten love that will unravel the world. I think that they are like constantly being reincarnated and finding their way back to one another, and that's an interesting take on soulmates that I don't see a lot in romantasy, so I'm hoping that I will like this one. A Crown of Light and Shadows by G.K. DeRosa. This is one that is set in a magical school. It just sounded good, so I grabbed it off of Amazon. I was in a book buying mood that day, and it's about a powerless outcast that is thrust into a brutal fate academy. She has a ruthless instructor that is caught between duty and desire, and a forbidden love that is going to spark the kingdom's absolute ruin. I'm here for it. Say no more. Okay, 2 more. When Gods Fall is one I picked up because this one has a sibling dynamic. Obviously, it has gods. It is very, very, very chunky, so I don't know when I will get to read it, but I do love a good sibling dynamic, so I'm hoping soon. I know I've said that about everything. Soon about everything. And last but not least, we have The Wren in the Holly Library. This is the Fairy Lit Romantasy edition of this as well. It is beautiful, beautiful, and I've seen some 5-star reviews of this recently, so fingers crossed that I am one of them. It's about a girl that ends up locked in a library with a beast, so I think it's a Beauty and the Beast retelling. I don't know a lot more than that. I don't really want to know a lot more than that. This edition's stunning. Enough for me. Okay, I am surrounded by so many books. I have no idea how many this is. Too many. I can't even count them all. They're all stacked on top of one another. I've made quite a mess, but thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this book haul. If you found something that you are planning to pick up, let me know what it is down in the comments. If you just want to let me know that you were here and hanging out, please leave me a book stack emoji. If you have not yet seen my September TBR where I do plan to read some of these books, I will link it up here for you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!